Hey guys, it's Lizzie, of course. This is my channel, so why wouldn't it be? But if it's an awkward kind of video, again, I'm on my iPad, still fixing my computer, and so my webcam is on my computer, and my phone doesn't take the best videos, so I guess you'll have to deal with this for now. And if anything is really awkward looking, like I keep looking at this side, it's because I'm supposed to look right there. See my finger? I'm supposed to look right there at the camera, but I keep looking there, see where my screen is. So, it's going to be a little awkward. I'm also eating lunch, and I happen to have a little puppy right here who thinks that she should have my lunch. Right, Mama? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, if you hear her whining, that is why. Because I'm eating chicken, so especially. Mm-hmm. And just chilling with one of my loves. That and Coke Zero Cherry. They're like my crack. But anyways, so throw a chicken for my dog. But anyways, I hope that by now you know a few things about me. Like, we've been together since February. At least that's when I created this channel. I don't think I started using it until a few months after that, but still, it was created in February, and it's been a while, and so I hope you know a few things about me and that kind of stuff. And if not, I hope you've seen my main channel, and which is like everything else pertaining to me, not including music. I mean, some things from the past, but yeah, most things are just like vlogs and whatnot, and just random thoughts like this. But this is under the kind of artistic tab. And one of those artistic capabilities happens to be acting, and well, basically, I tend to be a very deep thinker, and I don't know if that's a good thing, because sometimes it's good, because it does help with art, and because I love symbolism and that kind of stuff. And if you are an artist in any shape or form, like seriously any medium, you know that symbolism is a huge literary principle, but that's not it. It's a huge part of art, and in all forms, like every single form. And so, I mean, that's one good thing about it, but it also gets me to the point where I just don't want to think about it anymore, and I'm like, okay, you know what, brain, just shut up for a minute. So it's things like that. But anyways, one of those deep thinkings was basically a lot, and basically we've been doing a lot of history lately. Not only in US history, which I'm taking because I'm a junior, but I'm hoping you're going to have history in a history class, but also American Lit, because it's basically a history class. Honestly, it's like a history class in literature form. Well, yeah, obviously. And so we've been doing a lot about that and stuff. And it really does fascinate me as a storyteller myself, and I do like to write, but the kind of literature that usually is talked about in English is not the best for people that are very vocabulary, has vocabulary disabilities. I guess that's what you can say. I'm not the best with vocabulary. Let's just translate it. So, I mean, sometimes it sounds like it because I put it a lot in my, my communication and stuff, but when it comes to writing, I'm more of a modern writer, of course, because that's what I was taught, and not Shakespeare, so, and, 1800s, that kind of stuff, not classic writer. And then also because, I mean, I get bored of writing stories because I don't like words, okay? Let's just go to that. I don't like words, I like seeing them, if that makes sense. So I read because I like stories, not necessarily because I like the words and the act of reading. It does sort of fascinate me, the use of words in literature, and the way it gives moods to it, and maybe that's part of the storyteller in me, but it does, and I don't know, I can't decide. I think someday I might write, but that's a long line from here. I have written stories in the past, but obviously, as you can tell, I get bored of them. And I have posted here and there, so if you're ever interested in reading, of course, I'll show it to you. It's from a while ago, but I think that, that's a kind of a after thing. It's not my prime focus. But with storytelling, it's mainly acting and film and music. And I guess you have to be a music kind of person to understand storytelling and music, but it is a form of storytelling, and it is an art, and just like writing is an art because it's art with words. So, anyways, I have like little bits of everything, but my main thing is film, and then after that, music. So, film and acting. But, with that, so like what I learn with the history and the like principles and stuff in literature and English 3, I kind of use and translate to my own like understanding things in like film and acting and that kind of stuff. And so obviously this kind of history interests me, and because a big thing that I haven't really realized is how not only does history affect that kind of art, and especially storytelling, because we've always seen historical kind of films, and actually that's one of my goals, is someday I want to be in a historical fiction film for acting, and maybe someday make it, but that takes a lot of work, because if you want to make a totally accurate one, and for me, I'm someone that does not just, be okay with something that's not fully what I want it to be. So basically, if I'm going to put my heart into it, I'm going to go full out. I'm going to make it as accurate as possible. I'm going to put every single work I can possibly do in it. I don't even care how long it takes. That's kind of how I am. That's why I don't think I should focus on producing or directing anytime soon. I think I need a lot more experience so I can do that. And so with that, if I were to do a historical kind of thing, I'd be one to make fact-checking like each item I use and at each clothing. Well, of course that's a clothing designer, but I'd still check every did they use that cloth? Was that cloth like invented? Not necessarily invented, but you know what I mean, formed back then, because it's so easy to make things like that, and people will pick up on it, especially those that are really interested in it. Some other will be like, okay, because I'm sure most people are like, it does, like, it will do. I don't think I would be like that. And I realized that. I thought about how much work a historical fiction kind of thing is. And with this, we've obviously seen history and storytelling, but that's not what I mean. I mean that history, that time, that era, when that art and that history and that storytelling was created, how much that affects it. Because right now we're learning how the Civil War, we're learning the realism state. We learned romanticism, whatever, earlier, but how Civil War and industrialization affects writing. And it interests me because I was like, it does that to every art. Because we're also learning photography history in my photography class right now. And it interests me a lot how people use the things that they had available to them and how much that affects that art. Because we look at the classics and we're like, oh, it's a classic because this, But we don't think it because that's what was available to them. And then it got me to think that, wow, look at the things that we have available to us today. And I started to think, what exactly is our literature based on? Because we don't really think about that because we know the things that we have all our life. So it's not that big, we just think it's a book. YA fiction, that's a big part of today's literature, I would say. I mean, you can take it as it is. It's not necessarily a classic, but I think that someday, like Hunger Games, it will be, because it does have a very big, it has a big kind of, it's not just fiction. I mean, it's the way you look at it. You can look at it and be like, oh, it's about a 16-year-old girl and she blah, 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 blah in a futuristic world with a lot of color and stuff. Yeah, that is true, but there's a huge thing that our world is in it, because I don't know if you know this, but the author got the idea of it from a newscast of the Iraq War, and just she started to think about things in our, government, and you never realize how much is actually in there. And there's some things that are pretty taboo that I will not mention, but if you've read Divergent, which I hope you have if you're on this channel, there are some really big governmental things in it, and that is in our society today, especially. It was back in the 1800s, it's rumored, no one knows if it's true, that kind of stuff. I won't say because I don't want to get into that, but I feel like it's a really big important thing because it's something that we see in our society today, and it affects our literature. Whether you don't know it or not, I have a very firm belief so. I will just say okay? Erudite. So there's a lot that I think is in our kind of literature, our art, our TV shows, our, everything that we never realized but is because of our era. And I just find it so fascinating that, we don't even realize this. And we don't realize that when we look at classics, but that was what was available to them. That was their life. They put their life in, the stories. That's what storytelling is. And, it's fascinating because we never realize what exactly is in their life. So, hopefully that all makes sense. It's a really deep thought. Like I said, I think really deep, really a lot. I don't know if it's good or bad. Sometimes really bad. But anyways, and also it made me realize that how fortunate we are to have the technology and the materials we have today. People might say, oh, it was so simpler back then, and there's going to be pros and cons to everything. I mean, there's cons to internet, there's pros, but, I learned so much more. I get to experience the world and everything it has with it a lot more because of internet and because of technology. And, I'm especially grateful because my career that I want to go into and have forever, and my mom was actually talking about how I always have done things that that shows that this is what I've always been meant to do, that I would just, I'd be really intuitive with movies, and I'd always know things here and there, I'd be able to say, oh, just by their voice, actors, and I'd be able to just catch things. And I talk about movies all the time. And it made me realize that this has been my career forever, right? And I'm never really that grateful for the technology that has given me that career, because if there wasn't technology, if there wasn't a TV, if there wasn't, people are like, oh, stop watching TV. Well, that's my career, so I'm very no. But I don't believe that the things that a lot of older citizens see as bad for the society actually is, because I've seen a different, more positive outlook on it. But if this is, all of that's my career. So it's very cameras. And learning about photography, history and photography, it makes me realize that at a point in time, I would not be able to do this. I would not be able to storytell. No one would be able to hear my words. And a lot of that is true, that there were people that were defined storytellers just like me, because it's just a part of me. It's not necessarily because there is that technology where I can do that. I would be wanting to storytell no matter what. We just have more technology to do it. We have more access to be out there. And I realize how lucky I am to have the opportunities I am, because it's still a tough career. Of course it is. But I think we all have to look at it that it could be worse. And back then, if you weren't in this city, you weren't in knowing someone, and back then, there wasn't that much chance, you'd probably just sit there and write everything. And some people didn't want to be seen and heard and stuff, but I'm someone that does, because I'm weird like that, I don't know. But it's just, I'm very appreciative, because there could be a way where, I couldn't have this ability to share this. I wouldn't be able to talk to you guys. I wouldn't be able to share this weird, deep thought with you. And I'm very appreciative, the way life is. It's weird, because we think about all the technologies we have, and we haven't even probably discovered or experienced half of them in, life overall. So I guess it just got me thinking. And I guess I'm just really appreciative of the opportunities, and it might be hard, but there's always, you never know. There's always a possibility, and I guess I'm just thankful for that possibility. And I'm thankful for you guys for giving me inspiration, motivation every day. So thank you. Hopefully this makes sense, and sorry for the bad filming, I guess, but again, it's technology that I am lucky to have, so I'm grateful. I'm very positive person too, so that might have a big part of how I look at things and stuff. But just think about that, we live with this technology day to day and stuff, yet it could be so easily that we wouldn't have it. So appreciate what you have, and appreciate the ability to do what you love, because a lot of times you probably wouldn't be able to. And still in society and events and countries and areas, you still can't do that. So be appreciative that you can, basically. No matter what happens with it, I think that was it. Sorry for it being so long, but I hope you guys are having a good time. We're on fall break next week, and I'm excited. But I'm also going into acting for sure, because I couldn't this weekend because I had to babysit. But I'm for sure, I think there's a holiday break, these next two, because of Thanksgiving, but the one after, and I'm really excited. A lot of positive things coming up with all that, and I'll tell you guys later. Okay. Bye. Ooh, how do I stop?